I guess this is it. So I'm wearing a sweater today. It's August 28th, but whoa. I'm wearing a sweater because it's August 28th, but it's almost September, so I can wear this, right? It's hot. I'm very hot right now. Um, but I guess beauty is pain.
Like, I love this sweater, and I couldn't wear it all summer because it was too hot, and it's still too hot, but your girl does not care. That's all I'm saying.
Today, I was gonna talk to you guys about how I moved out at 18, because I did. I've been on my own for about 4 months now. I mean, with a roommate, but I've been, like, out of my parents' house for about 4 months now. I was 18 when I moved out. I'm 19 now. Yeah, I'm not getting evicted, so obviously I'm doing something a little bit right at least. But this video is kind of like, I guess, tricks and tips on how, if you also want to move out at 18, how you can do that also. I have a little list here, so if I'm looking down, it's me reading my list that I made because I'm organized. I guess if you want to move out at 18, the first thing that you should do is that you should build credit before you move out. So that means getting a credit card. There's some banks are different, so some banks will be like I think it's called a fixed credit card, where it's like you only have $500 and they're gonna hold it from your savings account. So the 500, so you can't spend 500 from your savings, but you can use your credit card, and it's just in case like you don't make a payment, and they can take that 500 out and just like it's bulletproof basically. I think, I don't know, that's the kind that I had, and I have the ECU, but they also have other, I don't know how the other ones work because that's the one that I have, but so you want to build credit, and obviously if you're thinking about moving out, you should probably just, if you have a place to stay first, like if your parents aren't kicking you out, or if it's not like a rushed situation, then definitely try to get a good amount into your savings. I bought my car before I moved out, which it was like $4,000, and then I still had a good amount in my savings for when I did move out, so I wasn't struggling. And you know, it's in case you like lose your job, or if something big happens and you need the money, you're not struggling to find it because you have it in your savings. So it's always a good idea to have a good amount into your savings, but if you can't, then it's also okay, because you can still save while you're, you know, paying bills and stuff. It's just a little bit tougher to save as much money. But yeah, so build your credit, you know, and have a good savings. And then once you do that, if you want to move out at 18, it's probably not likely that you're going to be able to move out on your own. You're probably most definitely going to need like a roommate, or like a roommate. That can be a friend, it can be a friend of a friend, it can be just someone you know, someone that your friend knows. I wouldn't recommend using a stranger. I know New Girl like totally was like, yeah, it's cool, you know, but like I just heard a lot of horror stories about the meeting a stranger online and then like moving in. Like, it just doesn't work out most of the time. If you're like my uncle, he wouldn't recommend like moving out with a friend, because you know, when you do move out with someone, it is like different than like if you were living differently. Like, you're roommates now, so you're sharing the same place, so you can get into fights about a lot of stuff, like the dishes, or like eating people's food, and like this and that. Like, you just get into fights. So if it's not someone that you think that you could get along with, it's probably not a good idea to move in with them. If you guys have like the same personality, or like you just really like petty, I guess is a nice word, I don't think it's a good idea, because then you're both like strong-headed and you're just gonna get into a lot of fights, and that's how you end up on like Judge Judy or something. I don't know, that's just what my uncle says. But I moved out with a friend from high school, and it's still, you know, we haven't killed each other, and we're still pretty good right now. So the next thing you want to do after you find a person to move in with you is obviously look for apartments, but look for them that are in your price range. And a way to like figure out what your price range is to figure out your budget. So your budget is basically you know, what you're getting in and then versus what you're putting out, basically. So it's like, let's say you're getting like $1,400 a month, and then you have to worry about your rent, your utilities, you know, your phone bill, your internet, and like everything else, all of the extra stuff too, like if you have Spotify or if you have like Hulu and like your gym memberships and everything. So you have to like take into account what you're making versus what needs to be paid, along with groceries too. You have to groceries, gas, you know, your car payments, everything. So you just have to think about what it is that you're like bringing in and what is going out, and then how much you can save and how much you can afford to live on, basically. So just figure that out, and then you can kind of figure out what your price range is from there. And then after you figure that, after you find out what your price range is and you find a couple of apartments, definitely tour the apartments before you move in to them. You're gonna want to just tour a couple, you know, take a couple looks. For us, it was really easy. The first apartment we looked at, we actually really, really liked, and it was really in our price range, and everything was really nice about it. So we just definitely, we were like, this is the one. We didn't look at any other ones because this one was the cheapest, and it was nice. So, and we've been here for a while and no problems. So, you know, but definitely if you have other options, then definitely look at all the options before you pick one. Don't just pick one. Don't pick the first one that you see. And I know that's kind of hypocritical of me to say, but this one was definitely the most cheapest one that we could find. So, and then, you know, applying to apartments. So apply to the apartment that obviously you like the most. Most apartments are gonna like have a fee for you to apply. So for us, I think it was $40. Each applicant was $40, and then they're gonna need, along with your application, they're gonna need like pay stubs from like maybe a year from from like the last 6 months, just, you know, so they can see that you have a steady income. They're going to need like your social information and your IDs and everything like that. And then, yeah, and when you're touring the apartment, I guess before you sign a lease of an apartment, you want to go through the apartment and look and see like everything that's wrong with the apartment first. So that way when you move out, you can be like, okay, this was already wrong with the apartment. If you have a good like landlord or a good person who's selling it to you, they're gonna go around with you and they're gonna be like, okay, we see this, and they're gonna write it down also. But if they don't, obviously take pictures, make notes of what's already broken and what's like damaged, if there's any writings anywhere, anything, just make notes, and so whenever you move out you can get your deposit back, basically. Once all of that is done and you sign your lease, you're going to want to figure out a couple of things. So you're going to want to figure out your one-time expenses. This is like your sofa, like dishes and everything else that comes along with that. And then, so I would recommend, if you're with your roommate and you're sharing everything, I'd recommend writing down who bought what, so that way when you move out, it's not like a big fight of, oh, I bought this, and they're like, no, that's mine. I would also recommend like keeping a binder with all of your apartment stuff, just like, you know, a copy of your lease, like a copy of like basically everything that you've done thus far, and then like your information for like your, you know, like if you're paying like an electric bill, like your electric information and all this stuff, and keeping receipts and everything else in that. And that way it's just like, it's kind of there and everyone can look at it. And I keep ours in a spot where we know where it is, and it's like, it just has all of our apartment information, not like big stuff, but just like, you know, our lease and everything. And then it has like, every time I pay a bill, I write down the date that I paid it. I actually got this tip from like a friend. So you write down the date that you paid it, and you write down like if there's a confirmation number, write down that as well. And so that way if they're like, hey, like you didn't pay this bill, you can be like, yes I did, I paid it on this day, and here's the confirmation number. You know, that helps a lot too. I guess the biggest thing is communication with your roommate. Because that's really is key. You're living with this person now, so obviously, you know, everything's going to be different than when you were living with your parents. You're going to have more freedom, but you're also going to have to be cautious, you know, not cautious, but just, you know, also set boundaries and know this is mine, this is yours, you know, just like communication. Like, tell someone if you're doing something, if you plan on going on vacation, tell your roommate so they can figure out, like, if I don't know, so they can just, like, figure everything out. You can, like, if a bill comes, obviously tell them that the bill has came. Just communicate really good with your roommate, and then it'll be very nice. Like, communication is definitely the key to, like, having a successful relationship with your roommate. It definitely is, because if you're not communicating, then they're just gonna get mad, and you're just gonna get mad, and everyone's gonna get mad. So communication is definitely key. And then the last tip that I have is just, be responsible but still have fun. Now you know your budget, you know everything, so you know what you can spend and you know what you can do, and then just, like, do what you can, do what you know that you're supposed to do, but just be responsible, still save money, still pay all your bills on time, don't leave your roommate hanging, but you can still go out and, like, have fun and everything, because now you're, like, free, or not, like, there's no parents, like, telling you what to do, which is nice. You are going to be poor for a while, or just learn how to be poor. It's okay to not have a lot of money at first. It's definitely okay, even if you're just saving a little bit. It's okay. And, yeah, I don't know, I think I'm done. I can wear my glasses again, because I'm ending this video. There's probably a lot of stuff that I missed, but I feel like that's okay. And if there is, you can find it from a different video and not this one. Okay, I'm gonna go have fun moving out, if you are. And if you're not, if you're just watching this just to watch it, yeah, I'll probably do an apartment tour soon. I'm in my living room right now. Here's some pictures. Okay. I'm gonna go. Goodbye.